highlight this momentous occasion in the University of Houston Clear Lake's history. My name is Dr. Richard Walker, and I am Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Enrollment Services for the University of Houston system. I also had the wonderful pleasure of chairing the search committee that brought Dr. Blake to UH Clear Lake. It is my pleasure to preside over this investiture ceremony for UHCL President Ira K. Blake. An investiture is an academic event that marks the official moment when the torch is symbolically passed to a new leader. Please remain seated while the processional takes place. During the processional, we will enjoy a performance by UH Clear Lake Associate Professor of Engineering Management, Ipek Bozkurt. You may be seated. The platform party may be seated. I have had the pleasure of working closely with President Blake since her arrival to UHCL in August of 2017. Her commitment to education, added with her passion for excellence, gives perspective to the theme of this ceremony, transcending expectations. May we all please stand, if we are able, as we now welcome the University of Houston Downtown Police Department Honor Guard for the presentation of colors. The Star-Spangled Banner will be sung by the National Convention of Gospel Choirs and Choruses, Houston, directed by the Reverend Michael Pickett from Pleasant Hill Baptist Church. He will also then lead the choir as they sing James Weldon Johnson's Lift Every Voice and Sing.
can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Reverend Pickett, and your outstanding choir. Please remain standing for the invocation to be given by the Reverend Robert Barros from St. Bernadette Catholic Church.
Oh Creador, agradecidos, recordamos a aquellos que estuvieron aquí antes que nosotros, en compañía de colegas y amigos aquí presentes, vemos hacia el futuro. Que la sabiduría acompañe a aquellos que participan en la misión de nuestra universidad ahora y que embarquen en nuevas aventuras. Permítenos estar enfocados en nuestras metas principales y ayudándonos a respetar a todos los que trabajan para promover el conocimiento. Que seamos agradecidos por la oportunidad de vivir y celebrar este volátil día. O Creator, with thankfulness, remember those who have come before us, and together with those of our colleagues and friends gathered here, we look to the future. May wisdom be given to those who participate in the mission of our university as we embark on new adventures. May we be focused on our highest goals, and may we have respect for all who work together to promote knowledge. We have gratitude for the opportunity to live and celebrate this rewarding day. Amen.
Please be seated. We began today's ceremony with the formal processional led by two professors who have been with the university since the 1970s. The first is Dr. Kevin Wooten, one of UH Clear Lake's early students who completed his undergraduate degree in 1976 and his master's in 1978. He then returned in 1980, first as an adjunct professor and moved up the ranks to full professor of management. The second is Dr. David Mullen, a charter faculty member, which of course means he's been here since day one, and who serves as professor of psychology and neuroscience. It is fitting that these two, who were here at the beginning of this university, led the processional today. They carried the ceremonial mace, which signifies the university's authority and independence as an educational institution. It is my honor now to present to all of you the distinguished faculty, administrators, special guests, and students who have been chosen to participate in this momentous occasion. I would now like to recognize some special guests who are with us today. When I call your name, please stand for a moment and then you may be seated. I ask for the audience to hold your applause until all have been introduced. With us today, on behalf of U.S. Representative Pete Olson, John Paul Anders. From State Representative Ed Thompson's office, Liz Sita. On behalf of State Representative Greg Bonin, Faye Picard. From Representative Dennis Paul's office, Dawn McDonald. Representing Houston City Councilman Dave Martin, Jordan McGinty. And City of Kemah Mayor, the Honorable Carl Joyner. These special guests represent city, state, and U.S. members of the legislature who support the drive of excellence that President Blake has envisioned for this university. Please give them applause for joining us today. We also have several delegates from institutions of higher learning from throughout the country. I ask you to stand as I call your name. Reginald Spiller, a 1974 alumnus of State University of New York at Fredonia, is serving as a delegate for President Virginia Horvath. Bloomsburg University Assistant Vice President for Alumni and Professional Engagement, Linda Michaels. Prairie View A&M University Interim Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs, James N. Palmer, is here on behalf of President Ruth Simmons. Sam Houston State University Professor Emeritus of Statistics, Cecil Hallam, a delegate for President Dana Hoyt. University of Houston College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences Dean Antonio Tillis. Amy Cabanas, a 2005 and 2007 Frostburg State University alumna, is a delegate for President Ronald Nowacek. Alvin Community College Vice President for Student Affairs, Marilyn Dement. San Jacinto College South Campus Provost, Brenda Jones, is representing Chancellor Brenda Heller. University of Texas at Tyler President, Michael Tidwell. University of Houston Downtown College of Humanities and Social Sciences Dean Dovana Fulton, a delegate for UHD President Juan Sanchez Munoz. Thank you all for joining us today. It is now my pleasure to introduce our platform party. Please stand as I call your name. I will begin, of course, with the most important people in today's ceremony. UH System Chancellor Renu Khator, and the Honorable President Ira K. Blake, UH System Board of Regents, the Honorable Regent Durga Agarwal, who you will hear offering and greetings from the board in a few moments, the Honorable Regent Paula Mendoza, who is Secretary of the Board of Regents, the Honorable Regent Gerald McElvey, and the Honorable Student Regent Andrew Teo. We also recognize UH System Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Paula Myrick Short, and UH Victoria President Robert Glenn. Representing community colleges today is Alvin Community College President Crystal Albright. From the City of Pearland, we welcome the Honorable Tom Reed, Mayor. Representing UHCL Community Partners, we welcome NASA Johnson Space Center University Collaboration and Partnership Office Director, Kamlesh Lula. We also welcome UHCL alumnus, Michael Reeves. The Reverend Robert Barrows helped us again with the ceremony and the invocation. Representing UHCL's past, we welcome UHCL former President, Dr. Thomas Stifler. UHCL administration representatives include Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost, Stephen Burbrick. Interim Vice President for Student Affairs, Daniel Maxwell. Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management, Yvette Bendick. Interim Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs, Catherine Matthew. Interim Associate Vice President for Student Success and Initiatives, Timothy Richardson. College of Business Dean, Edward Waller. College of Education Dean, Mark Shermas. College of Human Sciences and Humanities Dean, Rick Short. And College of Science and Engineering Dean, Ju-Hoi Kim. Representatives from each governance group, the Faculty Senate, Student Government, and University Staff Association are also with us today. In addition, our Grand Marshals are with us on the platform, Dr. Malin and Dr. Wooten. Others I invite all of you to greet include special guests, former Bloomsburg University President Emeritus David Soltz and his wife, Dr. Roberta Soltz. Please give them a round of applause. It is now my pleasure to invite University of Houston Clear Lake Student Government Association President Izu Ikpeama to present greetings on behalf of the students, being joined today by SGA Vice President Tyler Baggerly.
President Blake, Chancellor Khator, and distinguished guests. On behalf of the UHCL Student Government Association and student body, we offer you greetings on this historic day. We celebrate the leadership that we have come to admire from President Blake. By her very presence at this university, we as students know that anything we aspire to is within our grasp. She leads by example, and we are excited to be a part of this important and for us life-changing experience. Congratulations, President Blake, and thank you for showing us what leadership truly means and looks like. Go Hawks. It is now my pleasure to invite UHCL University Staff Association President Marlene Richards to offer greetings on behalf of the UHCL staff.
Thank you, Mr. Ikpeama. What an exciting day for the University of Houston Clear Lake. As president of the University Staff Association, it brings me great pleasure to congratulate you, President Blake, on behalf of the UH Clear Lake staff during this beautiful investiture ceremony, and to welcome you, Chancellor Couture, and other guests we have here today. Since your arrival at UHCL, President Blake, we have felt your passion for our university. We want to offer our support, and we look forward to working with you as you take UHCL to the next level, assisting you in transcending expectations. I now have the pleasure of inviting our UHCL Faculty Senate President, Professor of Sociology, Michael McMullen, to offer greetings on behalf of our faculty.
Good afternoon, Dr. Blake, Chancellor Couture, special guests, and University of Houston Clear Lake faculty and staff. I am proud and honored to be part of this momentous occasion and to represent the fine faculty at our university. As we move into our 44th academic year as a university, it reminds me how young we truly are and how much more as a university we need to accomplish to provide the best educational opportunities to the community we serve. We look forward to helping you bring your vision for our university to fruition. Congratulations, President Blake. I now invite UHCL Distinguished Alumnus, Mr. Michael Reeves, to offer greetings on behalf of the university alumni.
Greetings, President Blake, Chancellor Couture, and to the many special guests attending today's event. As one of more than 68,000 University of Houston Clear Lake alumni, it is my honor to attend this ceremony today and officially welcome you on their behalf. As you know, our alumni include CEOs, artists, teachers, nationally recognized authors, scientists, and many other leaders in their field, not to mention 10 astronauts who have soared to success. As all of us have had unique experience at UH Clear Lake and have taken what we have learned here into the world to make it a better place. President Blake, we vow to support your vision and assist you in making that vision a reality. Congratulations on your investiture. Very much so. I now invite Dr. Walker back to introduce our next speaker. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves, Dr. McMullen, Ms. Richards, and Mr. Ikpeama. In 2007, the University of Houston Clear Lake entered into a partnership to expand educational opportunities to the Brazoria County 288 corridor that includes the city of Pearland. The University of Houston Clear Lake Pearland campus opened its doors to classes in the fall of 2010. The Honorable Tom Reed, Mayor of Pearland, who worked closely with the university in the development of UHCL Pearland campus and currently in the creation of the new Health Sciences and Classroom building at the campus, is with us today to offer his greetings to President Blake on behalf of elected officials.
Thank you, Dr. Short. And if you notice, I'm a mayor with a robe on. I only have a master's degree. If I get a doctorate, I get a hat. But I wanted to tell you that the University of Houston Clear Lake is something very special. I was at the Space Center from 1965 through 1997, 32 years, and I watched that grow over the years. And it has done something very special. It has provided educational opportunities for the whole Texas Gulf Coast area, Houston Gulf Coast area. And I think it's important that we recognize the contribution they've made. And over the years, I have watched them. As a matter of fact, they did some of their classrooms in the Rockwell building in the cafeteria. And I took a couple of courses there. And my daughter graduated from the University of Houston Clear Lake. I've been thinking, after we saw those over the years, as we grew, Pearland started at about 3,000 people when I moved there in '65. And in the 2000 census, we had 34,000 people. We got to thinking, you know, we're missing out on something. We have these wonderful people that have come in. We have 9,000 of our citizens work at the medical center. And the people moving into Pearland expect educational opportunities. We really need something at the college level. And I was able to contact I don't remember, Dr. Couture, who the person was that preceded you, the chancellor. He's moved on down, and he now hollers War Eagle, which is a school theme song. But we had a chance to meet with him, and he came out to the Texas Pearland, on our Pearland Parkway, and I took him down through the area where we have this particular opportunity right off the Beltway on the Pearland Parkway. And he said, this is fabulous, fabulous. And he introduced me to another gentleman that I have grown to like and really had a great relationship with, and that was Dr. Staples. And Dr. Staples, and we worked with this for several years to try to, how can we make Pearland an senior educational opportunity city? And we were able to do that. I was graced to have the chancellor at the University of Houston, Clear Lake, and Dr. Staples working with us on that, and we went to the college main campus and talked to the trustees. And we said, why not? It used to be that Foley's was downtown back in the old days, so was Neiman Marcus. But nobody was downtown. They went up where the people were. And this was an opportunity to take education of the Clear Lake and the University of Houston level out to Pearland, which they did. And in 2010, we opened our campus. And we're in our second building down there, main building. We have 40 acres that they're working on, and even more if needed as they grow. But when you think about how we're going to handle all of this, well, we lost Dr. Staples, but we were so very fortunate to gain a rock star. She is something very special. She came to Pearland on my annual State of the City last year, and sat there, and I saw her in the audience, and I said, wow, I can't believe that Dr. Blake has come to Pearland and is becoming a part of our community. And she has actually become a part of our community. She moved in. Tax bill is on the way. But if you get to know this wonderful, wonderful person and what she is and what she represents and how we are able now in Pearland to continue the traditional opportunities for education that have been existing down here for years, available to the people in Pearland, Alvin, Brazoria County, which is also Galvin and Galveston and Fort Bend counties. It's something that takes your breath away because we have such a wonderful leader coming to be a part of our system. It's called the University of Houston Clear Lake Pearland Campus. And we're so very proud of what they're doing. As a matter of fact, being a mayor, I always do proclamations for special people. And I believe behind the area here, we have a proclamation. If you want to come up and take a look at it, you can do that. But what I will say that down there where it says, and whereas, there is a special day, September the 20th, 2018, that is designated as the R. Blake Day in Pearland. Now, I'm the only mayor that's going to be speaking, or elected official, but let me speak in behalf of those other elected officials in the area, the mayors, the council members, commissioners, and others that hold elected office, and also the citizens in this area. I think if they were here, they would say, we are so very fortunate to have University of Houston Clear Lake available to all of us for our citizens, our children, to be able to gain additional educational opportunities. Because without good education, we don't have much chance in the workforce anymore because of the changing nature of it. But we have not only the University of Houston Clear Lake providing educational opportunities for all of this area and for these fine elected officials, but it has extended over into Pearland. We're grateful for that, and we are so happy to have Dr. Blake come all the way from Pennsylvania to come down and be with us here. Dr. Blake, you're great. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Reed. We have more greetings for this glorious occasion, but before we get to that, I offer a brief interruption in our greetings to present two more proclamations. The first, a congressional proclamation that's being offered by Representative Pete Olson. It says, Dr. Ira K. Blake's outstanding work and commitment to the community forever impacts the University of Houston Clear Lake community and the great state of Texas. I wish you many more years and the best of luck in your future endeavors. It is an honor to represent you in Congress. And here's a copy of that resolution. The second proclamation is on behalf of City of Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, confirming that today is Ira K. Blake Day in the City of Houston. That proclamation is also displayed on the easel. President Blake, this is definitely your day. I now would like to welcome UH System Regent Durga Agarwal, speaking on behalf of the UH System Board of Regents. Regent Agarwal.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. Good afternoon. It is an honor for me to bring greetings on the behalf of the Board of Regents. Just last year, we met you and welcomed you as University of Houston Clear Lake President. We knew you had a vision, drive, and passion, and that you are prepared to move the university forward as it builds its reputation in the community, state, nation, and the world. Going beyond expectations, it is definitely an appropriate theme for this investiture, since we have all come to learn to go beyond expectations. It is not only what President Blake embodies in her leadership, but also in visions for the campus community. Building on that, I quote another president who felt the same way, that some achieve great success is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. Abraham Lincoln. Since I came from India 50 years ago to University of Houston, I also want to say philosophy from Mahatma Gandhi. You must be the change you want to see in the world. President Blake embodies both of these ideas. The Board of Regents looks forward to watching what you have planned for the University of Houston Clear Lake. Dr. Walker, now we return the ceremony to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Agarwal. As we mentioned earlier, the University of Houston Clear Lake is still a rather young university, opening its doors in 1974. UH Clear Lake has gone through a number of changes, many that have already been mentioned today. Our next greeting is provided by a voice from UHCL's past and offered on behalf of UHCL's past and future promise. Dr. Stouffer joined UHCL in 1982 as its second chancellor before the title was changed to president. just 8 short years after the university opened. He remained president until 1991 before moving on to lead Golden Gate University in San Francisco. Please welcome Dr. Thomas Stouffer.
Thank you indeed. It's good to see you all here. I had many adventures in this auditorium in the 10 years I was here, so it's good to be back. I bring greetings to President Blake on behalf of the 4 other presidents who preceded her. As it turns out, my predecessor, immediate predecessor, Chancellor Newman, and my successor are now both deceased. Which is a little scary from my standpoint. But I'm sure it will somehow all work out. I also want to briefly comment on something that President Blake said at a luncheon right before this ceremony when noting the rainbow nature of UH Clear Lake, something that many of us worked very hard to achieve when I was here, and I'm sure since then. I have an honorary doctorate from Jackson State University in Mississippi for work that I've been involved with most of my career, and it's just nice to see that in reality here at UH Clear Lake. It's one of our important accomplishments, which in some categories you don't talk about, but I still like to see it, and I just got to be honest to come out and say it. So good for the faculty, good for the student body, good for the people on the platform. Now, with Dr. Blake, I just met her today for the first time, but I feel like I actually know her because I'm really quite familiar, and I won't take time to go into detail, but I'm very familiar with each of the stops in her career at Columbia University in Washington, D.C., in San Francisco, and in the State University System of Pennsylvania, where I could cite long chapters and verse at each of those places. So even though I don't know her really, I can attest the fact that she is well prepared for this assignment. When I came here, I really didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I'm impressed by somebody who apparently does. And I think you will all be beneficiaries. Now, my basic purpose in standing here today not only is to cite the historical record, but to really request of all of you that you give President Blake your support. In my career, I ended up as president of 4 different universities and CEO of a bunch of other things, most of which merit no discussion. But it's tougher than it looks, is the bottom line. Just come out and say it. And I hope that you will give her your ideas and your patience and your criticism when necessary, but that you will give her your support because everyone here, assembled here today, will be the beneficiary as the strength of the university continues to grow. I take note that this university is only 45 years old. I'm older than that now. But I take note that the 2 oldest institutions in the world is 1, the Catholic Church, and 2, our universities. There are a number of universities well over 500 years old, and I suspect that 500 years ago, probably not in this room, however, that 500 years from now, why they will look back on ceremonies like this, transition like this, and give praise for the kinds of things and the words we've spoken here today. So give her your support and good things. I believe, I'm quite secure, because I know my business, I'm quite secure that good things will, in fact, happen. The other point I want to make is simply that important things have happened at UH Clear Lake, some of which probably many of you are unaware of. And I'm going to give just a few quick examples. On my watch, when I was here in the 1980s, I'm really 97 years old right now, but that's another story. There were some developments in software engineering that occurred here that permitted, among other things, for the first internet email message to be sent in 1991. Probably would not have happened had several things not occurred right on this campus. The Clear Lake Area Economic Development Foundation was founded here. The Challenger Center for Space Science Education, that was the national memorial to the Challenger disaster in 1986, was housed here for a number of years before it moved to Washington, D.C., and there are now about 50 of those Challenger centers for young people scattered around the world. The Texas state policy adopted by the legislature eventually for research money funded by the state, that was conceived right here in cooperation with, the idea was all ours to begin with. We promoted it, got UT, UH, A&M, and other institutions eventually involved, but that idea began here. And finally, and I bet most of you, maybe none of you even know this, that STEM education was invented here. The acronym STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? That was invented, I know exactly where it occurred, at this institution. And it is now, it was picked up by the National Science Foundation, by NASA, and is now a worldwide and important phenomenon. More good things will occur under Dr. Blake's leadership. I think the university is off to a good start. 45 years, it's actually not that long, but it is something that I think we can all take pride and again, give her your support. Thanks.
Our next speaker this afternoon has known President Blake for many years. Retired Bloomsburg University of Pennsylvania President David Saltz met President Blake when she joined Bloomsburg in 2009 as Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. President Saltz served as Bloomsburg University's 18th president for 8 years. He led the university through the successful development and implementation of a strategic plan that resulted in the addition of academic programs, initiatives, and centers dedicated to leadership, aging, and more. Sharing his thoughts as a professional mentor and friend to President Blake, please welcome Dr. Saltz.
Well, good afternoon, and what a special afternoon it is for the University of Houston Clear Lake. I am delighted and honored that Dr. Blake asked me to speak at her investiture as the 5th president of University of Houston Clear Lake. We are here today to recognize her achievements and those of the university and share in her aspirations and goals as the first woman and first African American president of this fine university. Although this investiture is the official confirmation of her presidency, all of you in the UH Clear Lake community have already gotten to know her in her first year as president. It has been a year of learning and action for President Blake and for the university. When she took this presidency, I knew she would fly high and fast in this position and for this university. She has studied and learned so much about the university and the community and the many challenges and opportunities that face the University of Houston Clear Lake and all of public higher education. I would like to take just a very few minutes to talk about what I feel she brings to your university and where she will take this university as its leader. As you heard, she joined me at Bloomsburg University as Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs in 2009. She initially came as a loaned executive. I had a vacancy in the provost position, which actually wasn't a bad thing. And I went to the chancellor of our 14 university system and I said, can I borrow Ira Blake? She's really smart. And the chancellor looked at me and said, I'll think about it. Okay. But he didn't think very long about it, and she came to join me at Bloomsburg. She was incredibly engaging and passionate. The faculty instantly recognized that. And at the end of that first year, she became the permanent provost at the university. Dr. Blake is absolutely committed to public higher education. I've heard her say that so many times in so many positive ways, and so many ways where sometimes she would complain. If a student was having trouble getting his or her financial aid, sometimes she'd come into me and she'd say, there are people in that office who don't understand we're a public university, that we're here to serve, and we need to serve them better. So I think you've all probably sensed that aspect in her. We are a public university. You are a public university. Her entire commitment is to the access to diversity and inclusion. She was so excited as she was interviewing for this position to know that you were a Hispanic serving institution. During our time together at Bloomsburg, we were able to double the number of underrepresented minority students at Bloomsburg University. She's very focused on affordability. In fact, I think she's going to talk about your coming budget tomorrow, I was told. And affordability will certainly be a primary thing in her mind. But I think in many ways, most of all, she is absolutely focused on excellence. She expects excellence of everyone associated with the institution where she is. She expects excellence from everyone in this room, and she provides that back to you. She has an incredible work ethic. I can't imagine there's anyone here who gets to work before she does and gets home later than she does. She was certainly that way at Bloomsburg University, and I'm sure she still is. And I would occasionally tell her, Ira, take some time off. And she'd go, but I love what I do. I'm so committed. And I'm sure you're feeling that here at the University of Houston-Clear Lake. She has an extraordinarily clear vision. And we're going to hear about that a little later. And I think that's the primary thing you want to hear about today, actually. And she bases it on her wide experience in higher education, but she also bases it very much on the local environment, on what she has learned about this community and this fine university. And she's going to be talking about transcending expectations as you will see her vision start to roll out. She's always been extraordinarily goal and outcomes oriented. She sets goals and she moves very steadily and very progressively towards completing them. She absolutely believes in integration within the university, not vertical structures, that integration leads to the best outcomes. She's firmly committed, as she was at Bloomsburg University and as we were together, to working as partners, to linking academics, the whole person development, and careers. And I could go on and give some wonderful examples of the things we did together to fulfill the mission of Bloomsburg University, which was to prepare students for personal and professional success in a very integrated way. And Dr. Blake was absolutely the key to making that all happen. She certainly empowers people, but she also certainly holds people accountable. And I think you will see that very much. But one of the wonderful things she does, and I will be egotistical enough to say that she did learn it to some extent from me, is she lets her leaders lead. She gets the right people in the right positions, and she gives them direction, but she lets them move forward and lead the university in the directions that they have jointly decided for it to go. So she really is totally focused on moving the university forward, on student success. She's incredibly thoughtful and caring. As provost, sometimes I would also admonish her about all the time she spent with students who knew they could go into the provost's office and talk to someone about the things they were excited about in a very positive way, or the things they were excited about in not such a positive way. She is very open door, very, very open to everyone. And as I said, she has very high expectations. She sets lofty goals. We're going to hear about those today. I think we're going to hear that they certainly tie in that's what I've read about your university and talked to her about, sort of three major elements in the University of Houston Clear Lake mission. The fact that it is a student-centered university. She is an absolutely student-centered president. It's a community-minded university, and Dr. Blake has always been very community-minded, and we heard from the mayor and others how that's already been demonstrated in her first year. And she's extremely partnership-oriented, tying together, as I said before, the academic preparation, the personal development, and the career preparation for all of her students. You could not have a more dynamic and committed leader and a more lovely and thoughtful person as your president. I expect to see great things happen to the University of Clear Lake, Houston, as you transcend expectations under the leadership of my great friend and colleague, President Ira Blake.
Thank you, Dr. Schultz. Our next speaker personifies this university's community-minded, partnership-oriented mantra. As president of Alvin Community College, Dr. Crystal Albrecht has continued building the strong relationship the college has had with the University of Houston Clear Lake. Just this last year, the university and Alvin Community College announced a partnership that further strengthens its commitment to providing the best higher education opportunities to students throughout the region. That agreement that establishes a transfer protocol which will create a clear pathway of ACC Associates of Arts graduates who want to obtain a bachelor's degree at UH Clear Lake. Please help me welcome Alvin Community College President Crystal Albrecht.
Thank you. I'm honored to share a few words on this important occasion in the history of the University of Houston Clear Lake, the investiture of Dr. Ira Blake. Although I've only known Dr. Blake for a bit more than a year, I feel as though it has been much longer. I first met Dr. Blake at a reception in August 2017 when the Pearland Chamber hosted a farewell reception for my friend and colleague, Dr. Bill Staples. Dr. Blake was being welcomed at the reception at the same time, and I said hello, and we promised that we would visit again soon. Little did we know that by the end of the month, Hurricane Harvey would strike, leaving both of our campuses damaged and our communities marked forever. In times of stress and adversity, you find the true strength of a leader. Over the coming days after the rain stopped, Dr. Blake and I spoke by phone, working together to determine how to help each other in recovery. While the partnership between UH Clear Lake and ACC had been forged many years ago, last fall was the first year for ACC to offer classes at UH Clear Lake Pearland campus. We both had the desire to get our students back into class and back to a routine. Due to the damage at the Pearland campus, there was a need for assistance to clean up. Our partnership was further strengthened when both ACC staff and students and UH Clear Lake staff came together to clean up and make the campus ready for classes the following week. How refreshing it was for our two institutions to come together, even at this difficult time, to solve a problem. I believe that we would all agree in today's economy where funding is shrinking, costs are rising, and the burden to pay for a college education is increasingly falling on our already financially troubled students. We must collaborate to survive and thrive. To act in silos will have a devastating outcome for all of us. Henry Ford once said, "Coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success." ACC and UH Clear Lake have had a strong, successful relationship coming together by offering programs at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and more recently by UH Clear Lake sharing its beautiful Pearland campus with ACC. Clearly, there is purpose in our partnership. Further demonstration of the growing partnership is the recent signing of the articulation agreements just mentioned to ensure seamless transfer of Alvin Community College's students into one of 7 UHCL baccalaureate programs. By our actions, we are demonstrating our commitment to staying together. As we look forward to the opening of the second building at the Pearland campus, we know our partnership will only expand as we continue to work together to achieve success. Success for ACC students, success for UH Clear Lake students, success for our communities, and success for our maturing partnership. Coming together, staying together, and working together for success. It could become the tagline of UHCL and ACC's partnership. I'll close with an African proverb that I have always found meaningful, which states, "If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together." It is my sincere belief that under Dr. Blake's leadership at UHCL and the establishment of our expanding alliance will help Alvin Community Colleges, it'll help other institutions, it'll help businesses and the community, and we will all go far together. In the past year, I've learned so much about Dr. Blake as a leader. Her compassion, her wisdom, and her servant leadership will be a guiding light to lead the University of Houston Clear Lake toward the future. Thank you very much, and congratulations to my esteemed colleague and remarkable leader, Dr. Ira Blake. I will now return the proceedings back to Dr. Walker.
Thank you, President Albrecht. In addition to mentors and community college partners, this university has had relationships with numerous businesses and agencies. One agency in particular plays an important role in the history of the University of Houston Clear Lake. When one reads about the history of the university, they will often come across the phrase, "created for NASA in 1974. Our next speaker represents this partnership. Dr. Kamlesh Lula serves as the director of the University Collaboration and Partnership Office at NASA Johnson Space Center. He met Dr. Blake shortly after her arrival, and together they continue to build on the UH Clear Lake and NASA Johnson Space Center partnership. Please welcome Dr. Lula.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. Chancellor Couture, President Blake, distinguished faculty, invited guests, and friends. I'm very delighted to be here this afternoon. As Dr. Thomas Stauffer mentioned, that this institution had a long and distinguished history of partnership with NASA. I'm honored to be a part of this ceremony, both personally and also representative of NASA Johnson Space Center and the entire aerospace community. Our newly appointed director, Mr. Mark Geyer, could not be here this afternoon, but he sends his greetings to Chancellor, to the university community, and congratulations to Dr. Blake as the 5th president of this great institution. Now, let me tell you, I did meet Dr. Blake during the interview process as a member of the community, and I was impressed that upon her return back to Pennsylvania, she sent me a very nice email as to how excited she was with the proximity of our 2 campuses. She immediately grasped the importance and understood the relationship that this campus, this university, has with NASA. NASA historians actually told me a few weeks ago that in 1974, when this institution was created, or launched, I would say, for NASA, at the groundbreaking ceremony, at that time, the system chancellor and the governor of Texas used, for groundbreaking, a replica of what we call moonscope. So what is a moonscope? It's a small metallic square bucket that was used by astronauts to be trained. So as they scooped up lunar samples or samples, geologic samples from the moon. Now, how many universities can claim that fame? That use of Moonscope in 1974 symbolized the important partnership that this university wanted to build with NASA. You know, recently I was at a NASA meeting at headquarters, and a colleague from another center called me and said, "Hey, Cam, did you see movie Hidden Figures?" I said, "Yes, great movie, right? You have seen Hidden Figures?" He said, "Langley Center in Virginia had Hidden Figures. What does Johnson have?" And I promptly replied, "My friend, we have hidden treasure. And that hidden treasure is called University of Houston Clear Lake." Dr. Blake understood that the first time I met her. The founders of this institution and my leaders at NASA in those days, in the 70s, if they are looking down today, would be pleased to see the progress we have made in this vital, significant partnership. Speaking from a NASA perspective, more than 450, almost 500 civil servants have acquired degrees from University of Houston Clear Lake. And I'm very positive that contractor community, large companies, Boeing, Lockheed's, their employees have actually come to this campus and acquired degrees in much higher numbers. In addition, as Dr. Stauffer mentioned, we have accomplished many research projects, not only software engineering, systems engineering, but in science and technology, Environmental Institute of Houston. And these projects symbolize our commitment to this institution. On a very personal level, I've been part of this community for over 30 years. I completed 30 years at NASA this past year. As a member of the community, I have been involved with this campus, with this university for 25 years. As an adjunct professor in School of Sciences and Computer Sciences and Engineering, in School of Business, on advisory boards, on strategic planning committees, selection committees. I've been a founding member of Environmental Institute of Houston that is located at UH Clear Lake. So I have passion to develop this partnership that we have under great leadership of Dr. Blake even to a greater heights. Now we all know that universities are rapidly changing. All over the world, the higher educational institutions are going through transformation. Universities are facing many challenges on many fronts. However, if you have a visionary leader, if you're a passionate, committed leader with a vision, with working together, with supporting each other, we can accomplish a great deal and move this great institution forward. In Dr. Blake, you have heard from Dr. Souls from Pennsylvania. In Dr. Blake, you have a visionary leader, an accomplished leader, a passionate leader who understands the issue of faculties, administrators, communities, and she wants to bring all these communities together so that this university becomes a beacon not only for this generation of learners, but future generations of learners who would shape the destiny of this region, the destiny of the state of Texas, and our nation. I know personally Dr. Blake has great enthusiasm for space and space exploration. If we at NASA had met her maybe 20, 30 years ago, we might have asked her to apply for astronaut's job. However, in her role as the president of this university, together we will make our nation's space program better and even taken to higher orbits, pun intended. Thank you very much. the last thing I wanted to know, you to know, that I do have a PhD, but I did not wear hats in solidarity with my friend Tom Mayer. Thank you, Dr. Walker.
Thank you, Dr. Lula. Now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the University of Houston System Chancellor, Renu Khator. Chancellor Khator holds a dual role. One is Chancellor of the University of Houston System and President of the University of Houston. She oversees 4 university organizations that serve nearly 71,000 students, has an annual budget that exceeds $1.7 billion, and generates almost $6 billion in economic impact for the greater Houston area each year. Chancellor Khator was born in Uttar Pradesh, India, completed her graduate studies at Purdue University, earning her master's and doctorate degrees in political science. A noted scholar in the field of global environmental policy, she's authored several books and articles on this subject. The UH System's first woman chancellor and the first Indian immigrant to lead a comprehensive research university in the United States, she assumed her post in January 2018. I invite Chancellor Khator to begin officially the investiture. Chancellor Khator.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. He's so excited to be on my team that he forgets I didn't start in 2018, but started in 2008. Well, good afternoon, my UH Clear Lake friends and family. It is my pleasure to take part in this momentous occasion. This formal ceremony officially marks the beginning of a new era for UH Clear Lake as we invest your 5th president who, as this event is so aptly titled, is transcending expectations. First, I want to congratulate President Blake on UH Clear Lake's accomplishments over the past year. Made possible because of her leadership, but most definitely because of your support. Yours, yes, faculty, students, staff, alumni, and community partners. It takes a village. It is an exciting time of transformation at UH Clear Lake, and I know President Blake is both capable and committed to lead and accelerate the university's progress as a 4-year university of choice for its students across Bay Area, Houston, and beyond. Every time I visit UH Clear Lake, I see progress. New faces, new buildings, new degree programs, and more students. Your new recreation and wellness center and STEM and classroom building provide a space to grow and stretch as you strive to transcend expectations. Buildings are not all that rising on campus. They are not the only things. For 3 years in a row, UH Clear Lake has steadily climbed in national rankings. This year, under President Blake, UH Clear Lake moved up 2 more spots, tying for 61st among 140 colleges and universities in the US News and World Report, Best Regional Universities. Other rankings include 17th place in top public schools, 58th in best value schools, and 31st in best colleges for veterans. When I hired President Blake, of course I did my own research. I called around many places, many people, wanting to take reference, because as you can see, it is an important decision. Everything I learned at that time, and everything I know after meeting her and working with her for a year, I can tell you she has all the 3 qualities that I consider extremely important in a leader. First one is she has courage to dream big, and dream bold. After all, it takes same amount of effort whether you dream big or you dream small, so might as well dream big. Secondly, she has confidence in that dream to put her heart and soul toward that. She has the passion, and that passion is her obsession, And as you heard before, she has obsession for higher education, public higher education. But thirdly, which is the most important quality in leaders, and that is she has the humility to know she alone will not do it. She alone has not done it. It is all of you together, and she knows that, and every time she mentions it to me. I am so excited. I am so thrilled to have Ira here as one member of my team because she inspires me. She also gives me good advice. I have enjoyed every single minute with her. So join me in celebrating the first woman, the first African American to hold this office, President Ira K. Blake. President Blake, as you come over here, I promise that UH system will support as you continue transcending expectations at this fine institution. And I want to give you one advice, which I always believe very strongly, and that is, when life gives you lemons and everybody's busy making lemonade, you think about making margaritas. I now invite, at this time, I have found President Ira K. Blake as the 5th president and would like to ask her to join me, which she has. And I now invite University of Houston Clear Lake Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost, Stephen Barberich, to present the first of 2 symbols of the Office of the President, this first one on behalf of the faculty.
Chancellor Couture, it is my privilege to present this first symbol of the Office of the President on behalf of the faculty. The University Marshals, which this afternoon were Dr. Kevin Wooten and Dr. David Malin, carried this mace at the start of the procession to begin the ceremony. As an ancient symbol of supremacy, the mace signifies the university's authority and independence as an educational institution. University of Houston Clear Lake's mace is marked by the official university seal.
I will now formally bestow on my colleague this historic presidential medallion, first worn by your UH Clear Lake founding chancellor, Alfred R. Newman, 44 years ago. With the placement of this special medallion on President Blake, I complete the presentation of the symbols of office. It's all made of pure gold.
Pure gold, do you think?
I now invite Regent Paula Mendoza forward for the oath.
President Blake, will you join me?
Yes. Okay.
I know you're still admiring her medallion, which we all are. On behalf of Texas Governor Greg Abbott and his appointees on the University of Houston System Board of Regents, it is my great honor to administer the oath of office to you, Ira K. Blake. President Blake, please report after me. I, Ira K. Blake, do solemnly swear.
I, Ira K. Blake, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute my duties.
That I will faithfully execute my duties.
As President of the University of Houston Clear Lake.
As President of the University of Houston Clear Lake.
And will to the best of my ability.
And will to the best of my ability.
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and this great state of Texas.
And this great state of Texas.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. You are now formally invested as president of the University of Houston, Clear Lake. Congratulations.
I'm so honored. Well, good afternoon. With great sincerity and appreciation, I thank you, Chancellor Couture, and Vice Chancellor Walker. I cannot thank you enough for your continued support and too many ways to acknowledge here today. Again, good afternoon, everyone. To our elected officials and liaisons, the University of Houston System Regents, UA System Vice Chancellors and Lead Administrators, Presidents and Chancellors and Delegates from peer systems and universities, welcome to the University of Houston Clear Lake. To my UH Clear Lake family of faculty, students, staff, and core leaders, thank you for being here. In testament to our mutual active commitment to UH Clear Lake's bright future. And finally, to my cadre of supportive family and friends, especially my 94-year-old mother, who I'm her namesake. I extend a very special welcome on a very special occasion. After 1 year's service to the University of Houston Clear Lake, and despite Hurricane Harvey's attempt to scare me away, I remain humbled and honored to lead this extraordinary public institution of higher education. This is so for many important reasons, not the least of which is my journey to here and what it signifies. In his 1934 book titled The Epic of America, historian James Truslow Adams defined the American dream in this way: that dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. Adams went on to insist that it is not a dream of motor cars and high wages merely, but a dream of a social order in which each man and each woman shall be able to attain to the fullest stature of which they are innately capable, and be recognized by others for what they are, regardless of the fortuitous circumstances of birth or position. I stand before you as a living proof of the power and fulfillment of that dream. I am the daughter of cotton sharecroppers with elementary school educations who believed that, despite their own lived hardships, this nation could provide opportunity for better outcomes for their children. My parents, Robert Thomas and Ira Watson Kincaid, moved from Eudora, Arkansas to Fontana, California to improve their ability to provide greater opportunity for their children. There, my father signed on at Kaiser Steel Mill as a semi-skilled laborer. He worked there for 33 years, all the time still saying he was a farmer. My mother did part-time domestic work after her last child, who turned out to be twin girls, had spent several years in elementary school. Both valued the promise of education and encouraged all of us children to go as far as our potential and interest would take us, believing simply that education is the key to a better future. So the real question is, how is the potential of the daughter of undereducated sharecroppers who grew up in a segregated working-class neighborhood realized? How did she become a university president? While my parents drilled the values of hard work, persistence, respect, honesty, sharing, humility, learning, and a love for trying to do things better into their children through their actions and their words, that effort was foundational. More was needed and is needed for an American dreamer's capacity to transcend stereotypic expectations associated with such characteristics as race, ethnicity, class, gender, language. More is also needed to clarify a dreamer's oft-times ambiguous ambition. That more is support and opportunity contributed by others. So while my parents' teaching and role modeling were foundational, I am their outcome, but with added value. Others too many, unfortunately for me to name here today, also invested in my American dream, providing support and encouragement along the way to here. I've gained so much knowledge, my skills have been enhanced, and my world perspective about others has been improved because of those who willingly served and continue to serve as mentors and role models. They come from diverse experiences and varied backgrounds, crisscrossing all human descriptors. At the system level, there have been board governors, chancellors, vice chancellors, and others. And at the university level, presidents, vice presidents, provosts, deans, directors, tenured faculty and adjuncts, student advisors and librarians, secretaries, and police safety officers, maintenance staff, custodians, and groundspersons. All were both helpful and tolerant, sharing what they knew, offering insightful advice. And then there are my colleagues, friends, and those who my mother would call ordinary people in my life. I thank them and you all. I am one outcome of your generosity. I'm also the outcome of the early repeated comments of my late husband, Von Richard Downey Blake Sr., who reminded me that I had a responsibility to help change the lives of regular, everyday people in order to make the world a better place for everyone. In essence, I have a responsibility to the American dream. He would also remind me of what my late father said when I was a preteen, which was the result of two of my persistent activities, one being my frequent calls for family meetings when I believed someone's behavior was unjust or unfair, and I'm sure my sisters remember that. And the other being my assuming the role of Florence Nightingale to our farm animals when they needed care. My father, in his wisdom, concluded that I would end up advocating for animals or children. As you can see, I chose the latter, however slightly modified. I work to advocate for the child in all of us. You might ask, and what does that mean? I say that what resides in all of us, whether we try to squelch it or nurture it, whether others try the same for whatever reason, our dreams, aspirations, imagination, discoveries, all the possible pathways we can see and imagine as we learn, engage, and share with others in the chapters of our lives. So, after 1 year of a new chapter in my professional life, what do I dream for, inspire to, and imagine as a leader of the University of Houston-Clear Lake? I can honestly answer that with, oh, so many wonderful things. However, at the heart of it all, my aspirations for the university have not changed since I applied for, was offered, and accepted the presidency. Nor have they changed after a year on the job, despite the potentiality of Harvey's cousins visiting the Galveston-Houston area sometime in the near future. I need you to understand that my aspirations are grounded in 3 key elements already present here at UH Clear Lake, which originally attracted me to the institution. The first is the quality of the people who make up the UH Clear Lake campus community and their commitment to education as a life changer. Although these people are in every role within the university and all contribute meaningfully, I'll speak to our people whose main responsibility it is to accomplish our mission of preparing students for life success. Those persons are our faculty. I want to state clearly and emphatically that UH Clear Lake faculty really get it and always have gotten it. That UH Clear Lake is here to make a difference, not only in the lives of individuals, no matter from what, where, or how they hail, but also in the communities we serve and in the larger world, wherever our graduates' dreams might venture. And yes, that is the basic recipe for advancing the American dream. Moreover, genuine proof of this commitment has been here, that this commitment has been here from UHCL's very beginning in 1974. And that evidence is that UHCL faculty began work with our community college partner, Alvin Community College, and the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to provide higher education at the Ramsey Correctional Unit in Rocheron, Texas. That was in 1974 with the creation of the university. Often called College in the Prisons, the goal of the program is to provide the foundation for a second chance to inmates, using education as a pathway for rehabilitation. John Wetzel, the Secretary of Pennsylvania's Department of Corrections, sensitively explains why such programs are societally important. He proffers that to acknowledge the humanity of incarcerated individuals despite their damaging behavior, and to assist those who have committed a crime with walking a path of restoration furthers our community goals of less crime, fewer victims. To this day, 44 years later, UHCL faculty has never wavered in that commitment or in the quality of their teaching at Ramsey. They understand their role in the American dream and their responsibility in the region, our broader community, and that is to help create a healthier society for everyone. UHCL's power, its impact, is that the university has awarded more than 600 undergraduate and graduate degrees to inmates. And our graduates have become reentrants and gone on for employment with such organizations as the Texas Railroad Commission, the Texas Commission on Alcohol and Drug Abuse, halfway houses, substance abuse treatment facilities, and some have even become small business owners throughout the state. UH Clear Lake has contributed to the reduction in recidivism, defined as the return to criminal activity after incarceration. We are making our community safer and socially and economically more prosperous. The second area is the realized potential of our students. In addition to our Ramsey graduates, the walls around Atrium 1 here in the Bayou building highlight others of our 68,000 accomplished alumni. Their pathways to graduation and successful roles within organizations and communities were not constrained by their backgrounds. Our faculty engaged them as they were, listened to their dreams, guided them to meaningful opportunities, motivated them through challenges, and cheered them upon degree completion. In the beginning, many could have been characterized as first generation, working class, international, female, bilingual, domestic minority, immigrant, LGBTQ, or other labels. What they too demonstrate is UH Clear Lake's ability to develop competitive knowledge and skills and to nurture a springboard of confidence for the unleashing of dreams, aspirations, and imagination. As author William Arthur Ward noted in our Alumni Reflect about the quality of UH Clear Lake teaching, the mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires. UHCL faculty are inspirers. The final area is partnerships, or more specifically, the commitment and investment of businesses, agencies, and community organizations to work with UH Clear Lake in our service region. In Atrium 1, again, you will find representatives of these partnerships. Their support is broad and unfailing, which provides not only dollars, but job shadowing and internships, membership for college and program advisory boards, mock interviews and resume advice, skills updates for the workplace, and panelists for career presentations. I could go on. The real point is that our partners enable UH Clear Lake to assist our students with achieving the American dream, helping us to better prepare them for active citizenship, successful employment, and meaningful leadership. These areas which ground my vision for the University of Houston Clear Lake can be translated into the work principles that have guided the university before my arrival and continue to guide it. Those principles reflect the why and the how of me standing before you today. Moreover, they serve as an integrated fulcrum for the continued expansion of UH Clear Lake's contribution to students' attainment of the American dream. The campus community knows them well, and you can say them with me. UH Clear Lake is student-focused, partnership-oriented, and community-minded. As the UH Clear Lake community undertakes its first strategic planning process under my leadership, we will continue our work on behalf of the American dream. We will establish specific objectives around 3 overarching university goals. The first is to transform more individual potential into much-needed human capital in our service region. We must develop the knowledge, skills, and dispositional attributes of students so that the quality of their lives and the communities in which they live improve for the betterment of all. A dear colleague of mine, Philip R. Breeze, captured the importance of this goal, which I try to say to myself each and every day. No nation is so wealthy it can afford to squander the promise of its youth. There is no greater purpose and no better way to change the prosperity, health, and care within our communities than to understand that. UHCL's 2014 expansion to a 4-year university reflects that understanding and the related goal. The second goal is to provide effective educational programs and activities that develop curious, competent, competitive, confident, and caring individuals who are community ready to assume meaningful roles. This goal is a very challenging one, requiring UHCL's faculty and staff to monitor and adapt curriculum and experiential learning opportunities to the evolving nature of the relationships, work, society, and the environment. In the paraphrased words of Alvin Toffler, the futurist, we must commit ourselves to and assist students with developing a positive commitment to learning, unlearning, and relearning as positive change demands it. The last goal is to multiply resources in order to deliver a second-to-none educational experience. This goal requires that we increase faculty and staff development, maintain up-to-date facilities and equipment, and offer enhanced academic programs and experiential learning opportunities. There's little I can add as to the why for this goal. However, I can only state that for students who do not have these kinds of spaces, tools, and experiences for learning, they often come away confused and believing that they have less value, won't be able to perform well, and should probably lower their aspirations. In the words of Henry Ford, the industrialist and the founder of the Ford Motor Company, the highest use of capital is not to make more money, but to make money do more for the betterment of life. To end with one of my favorite leadership quotes by John Quincy Adams, a diplomat, minister, ambassador, and the 6th President of the United States. Life is about discovering who we are. Leading is about striving to become better than we are and helping everything and everyone around us to become better too. I call on all of us to keep leading for the betterment of our communities, our society, and yes, the world. Thank you.
Dr. Blake, thank you for those inspiring words, and I hope you know that I'm one of your biggest fans. We would now like to welcome back to the stage the choir to perform I Believe I Can Fly. So while they're coming back, let me call your attention to these 30 or so flags behind us on the stage. You may be wondering what they represent. They represent the more than 30 countries from where the University of Houston Clear Lake students come. So talk about a diverse student community. This is a representation of what that diversity looks like. So Reverend Pickett, I believe I can fly. Thank you again, Reverend Pickett and the National Convention of Gospel Choirs and Choruses, Houston. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Please remain seated until the recessional has concluded, and I'd like to invite everyone to a reception that will take place in Atrium 1. Thank you again for being here for this momentous occasion. Let the recessional begin.